Well, thank you very much, everyone, for coming out on a rainy night like this to our Planet session for our arts and cultural planning effort here in town. I know a lot of, my name is Joe Curo. I'm the chair of the Board of Selectmen, and I've been very happy to work with the other members of the working group that's been working on this, this arts and planning cultural effort. It's a big deal here in town. Just out of curiosity, how many of you were here for the first session that we had a couple of months ago? It's probably maybe about half, roughly. Well, during that time, we had a great opportunity to brainstorm about how we saw Arlington and the opportunities we saw for arts and culture in our community. And we have an opportunity now to kind of bring forward kind of a distilled version of what we heard and get some of your feedback. So it's so great that so many new folks are here with us this evening. I wanted to make a special thank you, and I'm going to embarrass her, Rieko. Those of you who are milling around, you may have heard the beautiful music from Rieko Tanaka. If you could, and I want to especially congratulate Rieko on a couple of weeks ago, she was naturalized as an American citizen. She's been a great fixture in our town, and now we look forward to even more participation. So thank you all for coming out. You know, the arts and culture plays such a central role in our town. We have so many efforts that have been going on. I think a lot of you probably enjoyed Porch Fest this last weekend. We have a lot of the festivals. We're heading into festival season now in town. If you go upstairs, you'll see some of our students' artwork is still displayed in the hallway upstairs. And around here, please be sure to visit some of the artist groups here around the town that have set up some displays for you. Especially visit the ACA. They have a little interactive display, and they're looking to take your mugshot if you consent. I want to thank the staff of town. I think there's a more comprehensive list, but Jenny Raitt, our planning director, is going to come and say a few words. She and her staff have been working tirelessly along with the Arlington Commission on Arts and Culture, with Stephanie coming up as well, who's the chair of the Commission on Arts and Culture here in town, which has really lit a fire under some of the efforts to really push forward our arts and culture efforts here in town. So thank you again for coming out, and here's Jenny.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. It's just great to see so many faces here. It's a rainy evening, but you're here, you're enthusiastic. I know you can't wait to get to the work that we're going to do this evening. My job is to actually show you the work of the many people who actually helped to create what you're going to view this evening. So that's actually the part of the Arts and Culture Working Group. So I thought maybe all of the members of that group could stand up to be recognized. So congratulate them. And they are members from the Arlington Commission on Arts and Culture, the Arlington Cultural Council, the Arlington Center for the Arts, the Dallin Museum. We had 2 different Merchants Association members participating from both East Arlington and the Center, the Board of Selectmen, of course, with Joe Curo. We had the Chamber of Commerce, the Director of Libraries, and Friends of the Drama, and the St. John's Coffee House. So many different people participating in this process. And I also really want to thank MAPC for all of their efforts putting together an excellent draft document. We're really excited to review, provide feedback. Specifically to Jen Erickson, who has been leading this process. Really, her work bringing arts and culture to the entire region is fabulous, and we're very excited that we get to be one of the first arts and culture action plans that MAPC has worked on and completed. So we thank you for that. And then I want to recognize my colleagues, Allie Carter, and I know she's somewhere, Laura Weiner, maybe. Did she go away? There she is, Laura. So thanks to both of you for all of your support throughout this process. So with that, I'm now going to introduce Stephanie and Adria, who will talk about the commission.
Hi, thank you. Jenny stole my line a little bit because I wanted to thank also MAPC and Jen, but I also want to thank Jenny Raitt, the Department of Planning. Yeah, please. Who has been completely supportive of all initiatives on arts and culture since she arrived, which was how long ago? A year and a half? About a year and a half ago. Yeah, so I want to thank you all again for being here, and this is Adria.
Hi, and this is just really thrilling that we've come to this stage, and we couldn't have done this without MAPC and the town planning department's help. And so this is really kind of a culmination, although it isn't done yet, but it's a culmination of a lot of years of work and a lot of yes from the Board of Selectmen and the town manager. So really thanks to that, those two things that have really allowed a lot of this stuff to happen. So.
I just did want to mention just the groundswell of arts and culture here in Arlington. I think you've seen it around you with the wonderful efforts of Arlington Public Art. I think it's been a great way to engage the public and get them excited about arts and culture activities. This month in particular, we have a lot of great things happening going on. I think Joe started to mention those with Feast of the East and the new efforts of the Fox Festival Parade there, which Cecily Miller, a public art consultant, has been doing. The Arlington Alive Festival is coming up. So June is really a busy month. And I think, and there's going to be, of course, art on the bike path, which is also new this summer. So I really hope that you check it out. Those installations are coming very soon, right? When the first one is maybe this weekend will be the first installation of that. So please check that out. So our job has been to come up with a long-range cultural plan for the town, to be visionary, to think big picture, and to get organized and motivated around arts and culture. So that's what we're starting to do, and I really hope that you'll be able to join all of these efforts. I do want to mention also another way for you to get involved is that at our last meeting, we actually had some discussion about how much talent there is in town and how many artists there are, but they didn't really know who the other people were. So we had two lovely volunteers, Lydia Scher and Kimberly Harding, just please, just stood up and said, we'll organize salons, we'll organize potlucks and ways for artists to get together. And so they've been doing that for the last couple of months and have even called themselves now the Arlington Artists Alliance. So if you are an artist and you want to share your work, you want to speak with other artists, you want to know who else is in town, please go sign up over there and get on their mailing list, okay? So I think that's all. I think we should go on. Yeah, thanks everyone.
Stephanie. Hi, folks. My name is Jen Erickson. I work with the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. Some of you, I think, I met at our March public meeting and also through the various community engagement activities we've been doing over the last 9 months. But I want to take a moment to acknowledge the MAPC staff tonight, who you will get to know. Carolina Prieto, who's actually flashing a camera right now. She is our community engagement specialist. Many thanks to her for organizing a lot of the details for tonight and also getting the word out so you all knew about this event. Anis Sengupta is our new regional arts and culture planner. Anis will be reviewing what we've heard through our various community engagement in terms of arts and cultural data, assets and needs. And then Ben Faust and Emily Torres-Cullinane are standing in back. Emily's our community engagement manager and Ben is our senior policy analyst, also helping out tonight. So I'm going to give some 101. So how many of you have not been involved in this process in any way so far? If you could just kind of raise your hand. Great, so welcome. Thank you so much for giving an evening of your life to join us. We hope you have fun tonight. And so I'm going to give some 101 over the next 5 or 7 minutes to kind of orient you to what this project is. So let me get my clicker. So our goals for tonight are to give you a brief refresher or overview of what cultural planning is, to explain the goals and objectives of the Arlington Arts and Culture Action Planning Project, to review what we've learned about arts and cultural assets and needs in Arlington, and to invite your feedback on draft goals and strategies in the Arlington Arts and Culture Action Plan. So about an hour and 40 minutes of this meeting tonight is actually devoted to you all talking to each other and to our facilitators to kind of unpack the categories of action that are in the plan. So what is cultural planning and why plan for arts and culture? We believe MAPC, we're the regional planning agency for metropolitan Boston. We work with cities and towns directly on a broad range of things that aim to advance quality of life in communities. And we really believe that arts and culture is such an important part of what makes communities livable. And it supports social cohesion, vitality, it activates public spaces and places. It's really important, and it's something worth planning for. So that's why we're doing cultural planning. So we have a new arts and culture division as of 5 weeks ago, and we're very excited to say that this Arlington Action Plan is one of the first products of our new division. Yay. So our planning process started in late August of last year as a meeting of the new Arlington Arts and Culture Working Group that Jenny mentioned earlier, in which Stephanie and Adria and Barbara and Jonathan and many other people in the room were core to really being the driving force behind the work. So our goal is in 2 months to deliver an action plan document to the town, specifically to the Department of Planning and Community Development as our client, that really outlines strategies that the town and partners can take to strengthen and grow arts and cultural opportunities in Arlington, leading to a thriving arts and cultural life for all. So the categories of activity that we've been undertaking include, some basic data collection of, what kinds of plans and studies have been done in town that have to do with arts and culture. We looked at the master plan section on historic and cultural resources. We looked at a study that was commissioned examining the impact of theaters to Arlington's economy. We also did some real deep data collection. Many of you may have taken this Arts and Cultural Assets and Needs survey that we administered last fall that 800 people took. We also did up to about nine focus groups with segments of the arts community, including a focus group with some people who are active in Arlington boards and commissions. We also did a public meeting on March 1st, which was our first unveiling of some of the public feedback that we've heard. And over the last month or so, we've been deep into the research and strategy development, meeting with the advisory group to really refine what you see tonight. So tonight's activity is really going deeper and really, piloting and talking through those strategies to see if they resonate, to see if they'll stick, to see if we can find the right town leadership and nonprofit leadership and private sector leadership to really drive implementation of this action plan. So there is a legacy of a lot of work that leads into this cultural planning, and I will say that, I thank the members of ACAC for giving me some of this history. I was told that someone named Jane Howard was actually an activist that really spearheaded the creation. Is Jane here tonight? I don't think she's here tonight, but she spearheaded the creation of the ACAC, the Arlington Commission on Arts and Culture, back in 1992. And in 2010, with the support of the town manager, Adam Chatelain, actually reappointed members to actually activate ACAC. So that action in 2010 really created some of the momentum that's behind this work. And I also want to acknowledge the work of Arlington Public Art as a committee of Vision 2020. That's really commissioned really high-level, wonderful public art in the town. So those are some of the, the legacies that, all of this work builds on. So here are some of those images of some of those plans and reports that we've referenced to do this work, and some of the photos from that East Arlington Storefront Stories project. I don't know if I got the title right. So here, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Annis, and she'll walk through some of what we've heard.
Hi, my name is Annis Sengupta, and I joined MAPC, as Jen said, about 5 weeks ago as their regional arts and culture planner, and I've been so grateful for the opportunity to jump right into this project, which is nearing completion and has been very inspiring and very exciting to work on. I've been diving in to some of the data that was collected. It's amazing just the outpouring of responses that we have received through this process. More than 800 people responded to the survey. As Jen mentioned, there have been 9 focus groups. We have just pages and pages of qualitative data that we're combing through and making sense of to try to pull into this plan. And you will see much of that reflected in the goals and strategies that are posted around the room tonight. And we're hoping to dig in and make sure that we've kind of captured it right, caught everything, and give everybody an opportunity to comment on it one more time. But you can see we had 97% of our respondents were residents of Arlington, 11% were business owners, 6% were in school. A majority of them were participating in arts and culture in Arlington. Many of them were visiting restaurants and seeing films or attending festivals, also attending live performance of music, dance, or theater at least once in the last 12 months. So there's a really active scene here, and people are involved, and it's really exciting to see. You can see this is just a chart showing some of that data. So the dark blue line is 6 or more times, and that top one is visiting a restaurant. And the royal blue is never in the last 12 months, but you can see that there's been activity in pretty much every category, and some of them it's been a lot of activity. The creative activities that respondents were most engaged in included photography, creative writing, composing or performing music, and we saw a lot of both assets and needs identified to support this performing arts community, the community of musicians, especially in Arlington. And then also textile crafts like sewing, quilting, and knitting. We had more than 60 artists engaged through our focus groups, which meant we got really great qualitative data from them. 59% of our survey takers actually identified as either an artist, a craftsperson, or a creative worker. And 44% of those individuals were earning income from their art. So through the survey, we actually got to get some good information about who the artists are, what their needs are, what kind of work they're actually doing. And then one of the things that I found really interesting was that about 2/3 of the artists were primarily using their home for their workspace, and that 70% are also engaging in their art in locations within and beyond the metropolitan area. So one of the big needs is solo or shared creative workspaces, and then rehearsal spaces for music and theater and performing arts was identified over and over again. And the other thing we learned is that the home spaces are actually not sufficient for supporting the growth of arts activities in town. 18% of our surveyed artists, which is almost 1 in 5 of the artists, said that they lacked the space to pursue or grow the work that they want to do. And 49% that were lacking space. It was either a specialized workspace for things like a dark room for photography, photography studios, woodworking shops, spaces that can't really exist in the homes effectively, or suitable space, again, for performing arts. And at the same time, when the whole group was surveyed, when the town was surveyed, there was those 800 responses, 83% would like to see more live music, more dance performances. 82% want more temporary or permanent public art, and 81% want more arts and cultural festivals and markets. So there is a demand there, both from the artist side and from the residents who want the infrastructure to support these kinds of activities. So I think that we're ready. This is a great time for doing this plan, and I hope that we're able to really build it out tonight and moving forward over the next 2 months. I also been looking at the asset list that we compiled and updated throughout this process. And you can see that we had identified over 160 assets in town, including arts and cultural organizations and businesses, eating and drinking establishments, public art and events, public facilities and open space, historic landmarks, religious institutions, arts exhibition space, artist workspace. And what's interesting is many of these places fell in multiple categories. The churches are the places where the nonprofit organizations are running their programming. They have amazing events all throughout all of these different spaces, the historic landmarks, the same thing. They're the sites where the public art congregates. We can see 3 clusters of assets. You have over half of the assets in Arlington Center, broadly defined. Almost 25%, almost a quarter of the assets in East Arlington. You can see they're really along the corridor of Mass Ave there. And then you have over 10% of the assets in Arlington Heights as well. So that these are 3 places to be thinking about as having particular character. They host different types of arts and cultural assets, and that's something that we're going to look at a little bit more in the plan. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to have an hour and 40 minutes to talk through the goals and strategies. We have 6 stations for the 6 goals in the action plan, but we're only going to let you visit 4 of them. So you're going to have to pick your top 4, and we're going to make sure that someone is at every station. So if one station gets too crowded, we're going to have to move some of you. And we're going to rotate 4 times. After about 25 minutes of discussion, there'll be a facilitator and a note taker at each station, and we're going to talk through the strategies and give you an opportunity to change some of the strategies, to add new strategies, and maybe most importantly, to help us identify who in town needs to be part of making these things happen. Who are the partners that need to be involved? And we'll get a reminder. We have a big bell on the stage. So when you hear the bell, you're going to have to switch. All right? Are we ready to get going? Okay.
So we're going to get going. So we will start now. So station number 1 is over there in that corner. Station number 2 is here. Station number 3 is here. Station number 4 is there. They're on your handouts. So remember the handouts you grabbed when you came in? The station numbers align with the goals. So each station is for a goal. Oh. Here you go, right here on the screen. Station number 1 is strengthening Arlington's infrastructure for arts and culture. Station number 2, improving policy conditions and administrative procedures to help the arts and culture sector thrive. Station 3 is pursuing interdisciplinary planning initiatives to engage arts and culture and creativity. Station 4 is expanding public access to opportunities for creative development, participation, and expression. Station 5 is strengthening the organizational infrastructure of Arlington's arts and cultural institutions. And Station 6 is elevating the social infrastructure and connectivity of Arlington's arts and cultural community. Everybody, as you get up, if you're going to a station that's very close to you, take your chair with you. We're actually going to try to cluster 10 to 12 chairs at each station. There are also extra packets if you did not grab one on the way in at the back table. Thank you. Everybody, we are going to come back together. Thank you. So I want to right now ask folks to turn your attention this way, and I'm going to ask one person from each station, either the facilitator or note taker, to come up here, and we'll just share one highlight from the rounds of discussion. So I know the chairs are a little messy right now, but there's still a cluster of chairs facing this way, so we invite you to come take a seat. And then after we do the report outs, we will pick 3 winners for 3 awesome raffle prizes to Arlington arts and cultural businesses. So if one person, either a facilitator or note taker from each station could join me up here, we'll just share one highlight that stands out in your mind from the feedback that you've been hearing tonight. Oh, hurry up. she might be able to get you. All right, have a seat, and we will do a quick round of highlights from the rounds of discussion. And then we will pick our raffle winners. Good stuff. All to Arlington Arts and Culture. And I also want to give a shout out thanks to our facilitators and note takers for facilitating marathon discussions for the last hour and a half. Hooray!
You want me to summarize? You want to summarize?
All right, I'm going to start with who's here from station number 1? Allie.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Cool. Okay, so I took notes with, and Joe facilitated at group number 1. And we were talking about supporting arts and culture infrastructure in town. And one of the things we heard over and over again was that there needed to be a person on staff to organize a calendar, centralize information, help people find places, and do all that kind of coordination. We heard that there was a need for centralizing events and a more systematic way of publicizing things. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, a lot of discussion about inventorying space and more creative uses of space and more availability. Thanks.
Who wants to report out from number 2, station number 2? Adria or Annis? Yeah, just like a highlight or two. Yeah.
I think there were two, and one of the main ones was how to fund arts and culture here, and perhaps consider something like a 1% for art that Cambridge has, or a culture bank, or some sort of dedicated income stream that the arts and culture community could be a little freer from having to always do grants or asking the town for money is the only way to survive. And the other one was to streamline people. A lot of people really like the idea of streamlining the process for being able to do arts and culture events in town so that guidelines would be available, rental of equipment or borrowing equipment for all kinds of group events would be easier to be to do, and also to be able to maybe have a way to what am I trying to say? To pay less if you couldn't pay the full fee for various town rooms or town hall, for example.
Thank you. How about station number 3? That was with Jenny and Lisbeth. Thank you. Jenny?
Hi, Station 3. What did we talk about? We talked about planning initiatives, and a lot of our feedback revolved around, I would say, thinking about new partners. One piece that in particular stood out for me was the need to incorporate more of the for-profit partnerships, bring them into the fold, both as an overall strategy and also thinking about it throughout the entire process. How to have more partnerships with the for-profit community. We also talked a lot about budget implications of the various things that we were proposing. We talked about the communications that need to occur after we actually get the plan adopted and implement it, and a number of suggestions around that. And we also discussed quite a bit in different rounds the benchmarking and sort of the metrics that we might consider using. What would be those metrics and what would that actually mean? And then how could we share that and use that information across the town? So I think those were some of the highlights. Did I miss anything? No? Yes. Okay. What was that? Oh, intergenerational, right. Ways to incorporate intergenerational work into planning. That was it?
welcome. All right, station number 4. Emily?
Some key words that really stood out during our conversations were diversity and inclusion. People talked about artists kind of going to audiences and not just having people come to a centralized location. We heard a lot about collaboration and facilitating that collaboration, supporting artists, but also cultural organizations. We also heard about access, not only from the artists, like providing artists with access, but providing people access that want to engage with art and artists. Thank you.
Thank you. Station number 5 was Stephanie and Jonathan.
Hi. So we were talking how to strengthen the infrastructure of arts organizations to be able to meet the needs of artists and of residents when it comes to arts and cultural activities. And so we were talking mainly of large institutions, the ones that were in transition, but we sort of ended up having a slightly broader discussion. When we were focusing on needs, some of the things that we were talking about were needs of artists for space, for resources, and for insurance, things like that. And if there was a need to have maybe an artist organization that they could buy into that would help, give them access to some of the resources that they need, help them be able to find space, and also sort of have some kind of blanket insurance that would work for all cases. And then we need the ways to know about those things too. So of course the website came up, as it comes up in all sessions, or other means of knowing what are the needs, what are the opportunities for artists that are out there, what are collaborative opportunities that people are looking for, what are spaces that might be available that people don't know about, just sort of ways of communicating. I mean, the silo idea came up again, that nobody knows what the other person is doing or what's available in town. And then the other thing would be we needed more big ideas to help connect to connect and communicate and help people navigate sort of the landscape of arts and culture, but it also must remain dynamic, where smaller institutions or smaller exhibitions or initiatives, grassroots initiatives, could also be folded in to some of those big ideas, organizing ideas. And then certainly we talked a lot about the idea of collaboration and pooling resources and looking at the ACA's move to the middle of town as the opportunity, and I know they've already been talking about this, of having like an arts campus. And that's one way in which the ACA is going to have partnerships with their neighbors and move beyond their institution. They've also done that with Porch Fest in an amazing way. And so what are the other partnership opportunities in town? I mean, that are not just confined to the campus, but there are organizations or artists all over the town, and just the suggestion that when institutions or organizations are undergoing projects, to always be putting out a call for artists, or having opportunities for artists to become involved and to partner with those various projects, and partner with each other too. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, station 6. Linda.
Hi, everybody. So we were number 6. We were talking about elevating the social infrastructure and connectivity of Arlington's artists, arts and culture community, particularly focusing on the needs and interests of established artists and emerging artists. And we had kind of a universal response to these goals from all of the groups that felt they wanted to broaden what these goals were kind of going after, beyond what felt like a very visual arts focus, to include also our writers and performers and musicians in these strategies and goals. So that came across quite strongly. And then clearly the need for networking opportunities just is felt really strongly, that people want to know who the other artists, musicians, performers, and writers are in town. How do we meet each other? How do we connect with each other? How do we work together? And lots of great ideas for networking strategies, ways for us to meet each other kind of came out of all of these conversations. And the stated goals talked about finding exhibition opportunities, and some of the other opportunities that felt important were teaching opportunities, mentoring, and cross-disciplinary activity came up quite a bit. So I would say those were the main themes from Station 6. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is a good time to segue into some information we want to make sure gets communicated to you. So one is that we have two folks here at this table from the new Arlington Artists Alliance. We invite you to sign up if you haven't already, but you formed after our March 1st meeting as a venue for artists, by artists, for artists to network. So please plug into the network. The other thing I would say is that public feedback, we gave you these note-taking sheets when you came in, so we invite you to leave those with us on the way out if you wrote comments on them, and also to email us at theculturalplan@arlington.ma.us email address by June 9th, because we'll be synthesizing all the feedback and finalizing the action plan over the next month. And we will undergo one round of revision, working closely with the Arlington Cultural Planning Working Group to finalize the action plan. So any feedback you can email us by that date is greatly appreciated. I also want to make an announcement about a survey. Massachusetts Arts Leaders Coalition and Art Morpheus have put out an artist survey. It just came out last week. The link is right there, artistsunderthedome.org/census.html. So we encourage you to take that and to forward it to your artist networks. So next, I would like to ask Jenny Raitt to pick the 3 raffle prize winners. And these raffle items support Arlington arts and cultural businesses. Yes, so 3.
Blank. Blank. This is blank.
Oh, they dropped the wrong one. You got to write your name on stuff. Or we can read the number, actually. You know what?
Oh, all right, but there's no person. All right. Okay, 526078. 526. Great. There we go. All right. 526068. 526068. I feel like I should call bingo. Is that next? Sorry. All right, 526125. 526125. Oh, well, you put one in here. One more? Is there another one, Jen? All right, we've got Beth Benedictus. Beth, it's 526129. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. 526129. And
So thank you very much to Beth Locke of the Chamber of Commerce for actually collecting all of those wonderful awards. So that's our evening. Thank you all for making the time to join us. Just know that the work does not stop here. We're really just beginning. So once this plan is finalized and adopted by the town in July, it will be posted, and then really that's when the organizing starts to make sure that all of the named partners actually meet, convene, follow through, organize around really implementing the action plan. So I'd say, keep checking in. The cultural plan email address belongs to the town. So if you have questions at any point about where things stand with this planning process, how implementation is going, we encourage you to save that email address and use it. So.
thanks to MAPC. Round of applause for all of their work organizing this evening. And again, to the working group and to the Commission on Arts and Culture, the Department of Planning and Community Development team, thank you so much for all of your efforts this evening. And then just the cultural plan actually has a page on the town's website, so you can see all of these documents, information from the first public forum as well. And ACMI, of course, has been recording, so you can share the recording of tonight's meeting with anybody who couldn't attend, would be another thing to do. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great night.